Clarkstown SEPTA presents Certified ADHD and Life Coach, Isabel Ebrahimi.
I am a certified ADHD coach, and my background was in psychology, but also I've had lots of life experience. My own children have it, and so I've had years of training and experience, and so I share my passion with you because I too have experienced what it's like as a parent and as an advocate. So I'll play the focus music. What's really important to keep in mind is to play it on low. This is not rock and roll. This is really important to remember to play it on as low a volume as you can possibly play. And there's one for the mornings to help children to kind of transition and wake up. As we all know, children sometimes have a difficult time or anyone with ADHD waking up in the morning. So I will just play this for you so you guys can hear it and just have it in the background and kind of get an idea as to what that's like. So tonight I will be focusing on complementing Dr. Buell's presentation, talking about ADHD in terms of what kinds of practical things really help. So wanted to address, for example, meditation as we went through that exercise really helps. And if you choose to go the medication route, what's really important is to keep in mind hydration. 90% of our brain is in water. Our body is pretty much entirely water, and it's really important with the medication to hydrate. So why is that? Because it stresses out the system when you don't, and also with the ability to focus. So I'll be covering issues like sleep, food, and hydration. Medication at the end of the day, children spend a lot of their energy focusing. And what's really important is to recognize that some parents feel that I work with families that opt to use medication, go down that route, and families who do not. The acquisition of skills takes longer when there is no medication. Medication is not a magic pill, and definitely children require intervention with teaching of skills. I teach skills and strategies as a coach. I work with families on teaching time management. The ability to process time is compromised with people with ADHD. ADHD is not something where the child is on purpose trying to be willful and difficult and not in a situation trying to be disruptive. I teach, I do professional development training for educators, but also with parents around recognizing that the child isn't doing it, on purpose just to piss everybody off. And what I work with families around recognizing preparation, room for transition, time for transition, and also allowing for them to move their bodies. And that's really important, and not thinking that, it's just embarrassing, because it really just, they can't help it, and in order to help them. So for example, if you're in a situation, in a sports situation, sports and physical activities really is critical. It's not just a luxury for people with ADHD, but it really helps to build the endorphins because their life is constantly riddled with admonishments, even though it's not intentional to the outside world. You're late, you forgot again, oh, look, you're being too loud. The world around them is giving them lots of negative feedback. So positive reinforcement is so critical. And when I say positive reinforcement, what I mean is the observation of behavior that you are making an effort to acknowledge and recognize. So when working with families, believe it or not, all of us have not been raised with positive reinforcement, and I'm not talking about saying, oh, you're so smart, you're such a genius. Oh, that type of positive reinforcement sets up expectation and stress. But rather, I love the way you threw your socks into the hamper today. Wow, thank you so much. But in that moment, meeting them where they're at and recognizing the efforts that they are making and acknowledging them and really rewarding them with the acknowledgement and praise. So sometimes with parents, that really requires the shifting of gears of becoming self-aware of what they themselves are saying. So, for example, I had a young family, and my work is all confidential, so I never share any details, but information that reveals who they are. But like, for example, a young person who is having a very difficult time going to school, and one day made it to school, and the parent said, "Oh, that's so great, you can go tomorrow." And the child then felt a lot of, pressure to then, perform in a way that was very challenging for their anxiety. And Dr. Beal talked about comorbid factors for this. A very unappealing term in my opinion, but children with ADHD often do have learning challenges that come hand in hand, with ADHD. And so what sometimes requires is it's not at all connected to intelligence. Let's just make that really clear. Often, the more intelligent a child is, the more difficult their life is. Why? Because ADHD is not a question of they're not aware of what's going on. They are so aware of their world. They are hyper aware of their world. So they recognize what their challenges are. And so they feel terrible. So their self-esteem, self-worth is definitely very much impacted. So it's always important to try and think about how to give them the positive reinforcement 6-to-1. 6 positive to 1 negative. And as parents, what's really important is self-care, because you're modeling that, but also it can be exhausting. And for teachers, it can be exhausting. And what's important is to really think in terms of the fact that when a child is, or a young person is behaving in a way, just looking at themselves, thinking internally, okay, what's that causing me to respond? How is that making me feel? For example, a child who doesn't want to go to a social event because it's overwhelming. Overwhelm is a huge component of ADHD. What do I mean by that? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian. But what I do know about is ADHD. Overwhelm is when imagine you are aware of every single thing happening in this room. Everything. You see everything, you hear everything, you notice everything, you feel everything. It's really hard to decipher and distinguish and kind of separate things out so that they are not impacting you all at once. So what's important is to recognize that they're trying their best, and then try and motivate with positive reinforcement, but also to help them recognize that they are capable and they do have an incredible amount of potential, and it's just a matter of skills. So with time management, one of the things for ADHD that you guys can find on, and Dr. Carlson is handing out these, and forgive me for the small print, but time timers. Time timers were designed for, you can find it on Amazon, they're very inexpensive. You can get one in each room, they're very inexpensive, they're plastic. Or you can get it on your phone. It's an app. It works in helping people with ADHD understanding time because it works actually kind of backwards. So I have right here an app which I show my clients right here. So when you work with a time timer and you work backwards, the concept of time and the processing of time for someone with ADHD is challenging. So recognizing that it's just not wired the same way. So time timer will help with them to, as we all know with transitions they're difficult, but also understanding that what 5 minutes really means. And so this will show you as the time is running out. It's not about, oh, I have 5 minutes left, but actually as the time is progressing, the red reduces. It's a visual aid. The other thing that's important for older students is, as Dr. Gilly was using a timer herself, is stopwatches. Stopwatches really help young people understand the concept of how long it takes them to do tasks. Why? Because a lot of times, as we all know, they think that there's plenty of time, and then they run out, and then they, the horror of them not being able to complete it or having it late, and then all of that spiraling, right? Going into those rabbit holes, as one might say. So using a stopwatch, and all phones have them these days, to time activities, time stopwatch, and actually record it. And this helps for adults as well. How long does it take to drive down to the store? How long does it take to get dressed? How long does it take me to take a shower? How long does it take me to actually be able to eat? Everyone has an individual, unique to themselves, internal clock. And so it's really important as a measuring tool for self-awareness. Self-awareness is actually a piece that is lacking sometimes, is timing oneself to understand, oh, okay, and then working backwards. Why? Because then it's like, okay, I'm being realistic in terms of I'm giving myself the gift of time. So I know, okay, it's going to take me this much time to write, this much time to read, this much time to get dressed. So that's important because then it's a tool that you can use as a way to positively reinforce. Instead of, you're always late, or, oh my God, I can't believe you forgot. So that we all know that then we have windows we can give us for remembering. So the other thing I was going to talk about that actually make ADHD worse are food dyes. Red and blue. If you take a moment and look at the ingredients of your food that you're eating and consuming, and just pay attention and see. And you're welcome to take a moment to actually observe if you notice behavioral changes and see whether that's something you would like to modify in your child's diet. This is glass and obviously not appropriate for young people, but I brought it because, you know what? It's a great way of measuring water. You buy one of these big bottles and you have it for your child in the house, and for myself, I provide my child with 2 to 3 big plastic water bottles in a day. Not metal recycled, not ones that we can lose, but plastic ones where I just know, okay, we lose it and we forget about it. But measuring water, because medication dehydrates. Some people have had some challenging experiences. I'm not a doctor, but I can speak from personal experience. Medication, these days, medication is like a trial and error. Medication, as we all know as adults, we all have things where something works, something doesn't work. It takes time. Children have a difficult time, and as parents, we struggle with seeing whether it's working, whether it's not working. And there's some doctors are now using a swab that helps to match the DNA of their child with medications that have proven to be successful with the DNA. And I'm not a proponent. I'm not anyway in relationship with this company. But there's now, it's called a genome site where they connect, where they'll give you a report if your doctor uses it, the swab, and then you don't have the painful responses of the time responses, where you have 3 categories. One is beneficial, one is neutral, and one is very bad. And I'm sure people have heard about very bad experiences with medication, and then they think, oh, that's never going to work for their child. So you're welcome to talk to your doctor about that. The other thing to talk about is, we talked about water, but food. Medication is appetite suppressant. And I work with my clients on, parents are not, it's not like, as we all know, we're not born with books and figuring like a guide to parenting. The same goes for learning how to parent and take care of our child in terms of medication management. One of the things that really helps is meeting them in the morning with a big glass of water, and giving them lots of protein and healthy fats and vitamin D and magnesium are known to be very helpful. And you're welcome to talk to your doctor and nutritionist about that. They have lots of tests to determine whether they're depleted. But what's important is some families will say, oh, the medication doesn't work. My child is in such a bad state when they get home from school. And earlier I mentioned how they worked all day to hold it together. They used so much energy to hold it together and do the best they could. Well, when they come home, the medication takes time to come out of the system. As you know, there's time. They last for 7 hours or longer or less. And so what's important is to recognize that as an appetite suppressant, it's really important to know that I talk to my clients about saying, your body is like a car, like a gasoline, it has a gasoline tank, and you have to fill it up. And sometimes, if you're driving the car and you don't know it's almost on empty. But the car, then it's like, boom, it's dead, right? It's out of gas. So I teach my clients to say, you know what? You have to say to yourself, well, maybe I'm not feeling hungry, but I know that now it's time to eat, and therefore I'm going to fill my gas tank up with water and some food and help myself. But what really helps in the morning is healthy fats. Why? Because the breakdown and the release is longer, so it lasts longer, so that when they don't want to eat in the middle of the day, there's something still in their system, and they're not having the meltdowns with the sugar responses in their bodies. So then, when they get off the bus, meeting them or having whoever meets them to give them a full-on meal. And when I say full-on meal, personally, like I'll have a full-on, chicken and vegetables and lots, a whole meal for my child. And it really helps because when they're coming off that medication and they're eating that meal where their body is empty of food, then it's like giving them a chance and to give them some space. What do I mean by space? Give them a little time to decompress by themselves. Eat some food, chill out a little bit. Why? Because they've been so stimulated all day long that they just need some time to take care of their bodily needs and just chill, and then the medication comes off. Sometimes what's important is to recognize the social impact of ADHD, and exercise really helps. And so I invite you guys to think about what kind of exercise, and I'm not talking, it doesn't have to be competitive sport, but what kind of exercise can help your child release stress, because the endorphins that build up from exercise help them to manage the stress that they're under. So yoga seems to really help, or running, or whatever activity. But a lot of times, like wrestling, but some kids that can be a little overstimulating. The body contact, the physical contact can be overstimulating. Or basically, you can play, for example, to be able to focus after taking a break. Proprioceptive activities. Proprioceptive, all our joints have proprioceptive and the nerve ending, and it's a way of telling the brain to relax. So that's why yoga can help, but I know with my son, we would take the basketball, we'd go outside, and we'd play catch. And we would go over his homework. And that response is relaxing, and also creating this alternate activity, but also it's allowing for the information to come in. And I know we're all, can be working parents, and time can be an issue, but so jumping jacks, literally, jump rope. Whatever is not too overstimulating, and you're the boss, so you can observe your child and see what helps and what doesn't help. But self-awareness, because when you notice that calming, you can actually talk about it and observe it and give them that feedback and say how wonderful it is, and then help them become self-aware. Why? Because as they get older, I work with a lot of teens and young adults in college who have a lot of challenges, because if they are constantly being macromanaged, what happens? Their self-advocacy skills, their self-awareness skills, and their ability to manage their executive functioning is not developed as much, and it's compromised. So it's important to help with them developing self-awareness, recognizing their impact on others, not in an admonishing way, but saying, you know what, it's okay to take a break. Okay, it's great. You can go to in a social situation. You know, maybe take a walk. Or teachers, I invite teachers to recognize when the child is being very active, to actually take a really heavy book and take it and have an agreement with the librarian or the nurse, and take a really heavy book and have a little secret thing about asking that child to take that heavy book to the library, because that activity of walking and carrying that really heavy item is going to have that same response. And as a teacher, what happens to the classroom? The question is, do they want to lose, or do you lose a 30-minute lesson? Or have everybody stop, take a little break, and do this kind of a, let's say, jumping jack, or let's say physical activity, let the child take a walk, come back, regroup, learn the information. Because the child actually feels terrible, because they see the reaction of their peers, they see their impact on their peers, and they don't feel good about it. So the last thing I was going to share with you guys is as far as being able to, at night, sleeping. It's important to recognize that yes, medication can, be stimulating, but one can think about, transitions. So this music that I've been telling you guys about has one for sleep, because it really helps to be able to slowly bring the engine down, and just kind of being able to have an external activity that helps us to stimulate, to help us to calm ourselves when that is not internal. The other thing I wanted to share with you is there is a lot of information around girls in the last 10 years, through all the significant research that's been done. It's changed the entire face of understanding about ADHD. 1 to 10 has it. Is girls demonstrate in a very different way. And I wanted to end with, what is inattentiveness? Inattentiveness, ADHD, inattentiveness is the inability to attend to tasks. And it's not only for learning, it's for reading social cues. It's for listening to tonality. Yes, maybe every bit of input comes in, but being able to distinguish subtle messages. So what's really important is girls have the ability to override their frontal cortex and the ability to socially override. So a lot of times now, girls are being recognized because before they were thought to be shy, or they were thought to be, maybe just very, very social. But so girls also have ADHD, and I invite you guys, to keep that, in mind, is that there's a lot of research out there, and there's a lot of information, and you're welcome to learn about it. So I have classes that I teach for parents, and I also have workshops, but I also work with families. And so feel free to contact me. I provide complimentary sessions where I can answer questions and help you better understand how to go about helping your child in their situation. So thank you so much.